this pandemic had to fucking come along and crush it all, because 2020 would have been the year.
Good afternoon, guys. This is Eric LeClaire with Push Press, and we are continuing our In the Trenches series. The In the Trenches series has grown now. We're about 20 to 25 coaches in, and the episodes have been nothing short of a fantastic display of both personality and professionalism. And as we delve deeper and deeper into both the affiliate landscape as well as the coaches that I personally know, super happy to round out today. It's May 1st, actually, with a friend who actually was just down the street from us for a long time. She was not only an affiliate owner as well as a coach, but an athlete. And she has since groomed her community. I believe you've moved 3 times now, maybe 2 times. 3 times. For our audience that may not know how powerful Pam is in Southern California, the owner of CrossFit 626, Pam, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, you gave a pretty good introduction there. It's really thorough.
Oh, Pam, I love it.
Well, I've coming up on 10 years as an affiliate owner, and
huge. Congratulations. The decade.
Almost a decade. Well, actually, I should rephrase that. I'm going in 9 years. It just feels like 10.
Yeah. This last 2 months feels like an entire decade.
Yeah. It still feels like that Monday on March 16th that I had to shut down the gym. But it's been a very long and wild journey. Definitely a lot. It wasn't smooth sailing. And,
so go back to the beginning, because did you start as athlete, like gunning for, obviously you've had showcases, you've been to Del Mar, right? There's been regionals.
Right.
But you did that as an owner, right? You were a regionals.
I was actually I started off as a personal trainer, or if you want to go way back, I started off as a swim coach and then added personal training to that. And I worked at 24 Hour Fitness for a few years, and then started CrossFit 626 in a 1-car garage with 2 partners. And then 3 years later, I lost the 2 partners, and I was on my own since then. I was located in Pasadena. Oh gosh, how long has it been? For 6 years, and then moved to San Marino, and I don't ever want to move again.
Done. That's
Done.
it.
Yeah. It was perfect spot. The space is just right. It's just a little under 4,000 square feet, and it's very manageable. So I don't want to go any bigger or any smaller. And so back in, 2011 was when at that time it was called sectionals. And that's when I did my first CrossFit regionals, quote unquote, is what it is now, or was. I guess they got rid of that too. So it was very, the business was definitely not as optimal as it could have been when I was an athlete, when I was competing in CrossFit. Because when, I believe that if you're trying to be the best at something, then you're sacrificing something else somewhere. And so that was in 2017, I did my last open, and I decided, okay, this has to stop. I really need to just put it all into the business and not do any more fitnessing, or not as intensely. And it's been a really great choice, because since 2 years ago when I moved to San Marino, it was just, I was just thriving. So then this pandemic had to fucking come along and crush it all, because 2020 would have been the year.
It was the year.
This was the year. It was really good. It was going really well, because I had invested a lot in the build out in the new location. And so I was just digging, coming out of the hole from that. And finally everything was good, evened out. And it was just, we were just, going up, and the fucking pandemic.
Wild. And that's the story. We talked to gyms large and small. We talked to coaches who were on their first year journey, coaches who were on their 10th year journey. We talked to a handful of folks. folks that go back to even like coaching before in the 2000s into the 1990s. And some folks have, ebbed and flowed through this journey, and everyone was thriving, right? Coming to 2020, excellent first quarter, Jan, Feb. You get this little buzz in your ear about this thing that might be real, and all of a sudden it's real, and then slam, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw it coming in waves across the country because some states shut down before others, right? Sure. So my before we jump into how did you kind of lead your crew, both your staff and your clients, through probably the hardest decision ever to shut down, you've transitioned back and forth to coaching and caring for others, but then also having to self-motivate your own self, right? Because you've surrounded yourself with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great clients, but your journey through as a competitive athlete, do you have in your head, or do you have scribbled on pieces of paper any principles or any values that you've seen along the way that you're like, man, I like how that coach said that, or how that business owner developed that. I'm going to steal that and make that part of my ethos for 626. Any guiding lights or any principles that you can think of?
Man, that's a really good question. I think for me, the biggest thing was actually figuring out how to run a business. There was a lot of trial and error. That was my struggle, because, in the beginning, you kind of can get away with, like back in 2010, 2011, you kind of get away with, let me just find a building and let me just throw some equipment in there and then people are going to show up.
Right.
But you can't do that anymore. You have to you've got to market, you have to plan, you have to have a structure in place. So in around 2015 was when I started restructuring the business, meaning actually having systems in place, having an operating agreement, having an employee handbook, having an internship program. To some business owners, it's like, duh, why wouldn't you have that?
Right.
For me, that's not how we did things back in the day, especially with a lot of other gym owners that I spoke with. It was just like, okay, we just collect membership and program training, and these members will show up, and boom, done. And
the supply and demand curve was completely different even 5 years ago, 7 years ago. Today, way different. Mm-hmm. Affiliates that are opening today, and even other micro gyms. Think back to a time when you may have realized, hey, there are going to be other gyms that look and sound and feel very much like an affiliate, but they're not an affiliate.
Yep.
Now there's 6 in my area right now. 2 were former affiliates, now no longer. But just wild to see the change. Now, so what was the spike in Pasadena? How many affiliates did Pasadena top out at? Did it have 11? Or did it was somewhere around like 9, somewhere around there?
What was it? There was definitely 9. Yeah.
So now 2020, you've left and are in San Marino. There's no other in San Marino, correct?
Are you talking about CrossFit affiliates or just gyms in general?
CrossFit affiliates.
No, there aren't. But San Marino is like very small, maybe less than a 5-mile radius. So there are no other CrossFit gyms, but there are small fitness studios that are not too far away.
Right. Now, when you left the Pasadena area, your coaching staff went with you. You made mention of an intern program. That's a huge leadership step for affiliate owners to recognize that the development of their staff matters. So you've obviously have a say in, or maybe a hand in the grooming process of those coaches. What does that look like? Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
So it's really self-paced. I have it as you can finish it in less than 2 months, or you could probably take 2 years. And the reason for that range is because people learn differently. Right. I might have someone who's been a personal trainer before, who wants to start coaching, or maybe I have someone who's completely green, never coached any sort of fitness or anybody in their life. And has 0 fitness training experience, never taken a CrossFit class, who's interested in going to the time frame that they complete that internship. Very much hands-on. They have to apply themselves. So they would shadow a couple classes just to get an idea. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm going too fast. They actually have to be a member for at least 4 months, just so then they can understand what it's like to be a member. They can understand how our class structure goes. They can understand what we're looking for in coaching and how we do things in class, how we talk to people, how we listen. And then after that, they can go ahead and start assist coaching. So they would come into a class with another coach, and they'd start off small, maybe take the class through a warm-up, or maybe teach the squat because there's back squats for today. And then we start sort of building off of that. You do the warm-up, or you do the skill, and then you talk about the conditioning portion, and then eventually you're coaching the entire class. So it's very, there's structure, but no structure, because it just depends on the intern, how fast and how quickly and how comfortable they feel about taking on more during that class. Because for a lot of people, it's overwhelming.
Right.
They run the clock. Now I got to set the timer a certain way, and then I have to modify this person and scale down this person and scale up here. And then, no, we don't have enough equipment. What about spacing? So there's, people don't think about that. Like for me, I don't think about. There's a certain number of classes that they must assist with. But it could how Eric, can you say that again? I could not hear you there.
Sorry, yeah. Before they get released out to coach, they have to hit so many.
Yeah, so they have to hit a certain number of classes, and then there's 3 different phases that I've created in there. So the first one is just to assist, and then there's a written test on a few different movements. So it's almost open book. And it helps them learn, like, okay, this is the purpose of a push-up. These are the muscles that are being activated. This is what's being worked. These are some scaling options. These are the faults, and these are some fixes. So they do have to write all that out. And then there's a practical exam that they go through in the second phase, where it's me just pretty much fucking up some movements, and I go, okay, go ahead and fix it. And
Love
then
it.
The third phase is going to be 3 evaluations of them taking, pretty much running an entire class from beginning to the end. And I just sit there with my clipboard and I say nothing. So They have to pass that. So once they're done with that, then we go ahead and we roll them into coaching classes. I'll be there for a couple of them. And then after that, I always ask them, like, okay, are you comfortable? Are you okay? Do you want me to be here? Are you okay opening and closing? Are you comfortable with this class hour, with these members that come in? And then if they feel good about it, then I go, okay, I'm going to peace out. Like I let them be. At that point, I'm very hands off. And then I just do a coaching evaluation quarterly, and we just sit down and we chat. I check in with them and see how I can help them improve, what areas they feel like they need work on after doing a few classes on their own.
I love it. I totally dig it. I mean, it's the fact that you've got the amount of levels of progression in there for them, not only to understand your expectations, but to work with the clientele is fantastic. Plus, you have an open line of communication for them. If they have an issue, or if you have an issue with them, like that's a fantastic 2-way street that you don't see at very many facilities. I love it. I love hearing about that. Have you now sat with the coaches, and because you've groomed many, I mean, I think you have, are there 3 that are hanging out with you right now at 626?
I have 4 other coaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys get hammered, you as a staff get hammered with the lockdown or the mandate to close, and you've got to pivot as the owner, you've got to pivot as their leader, not only in charge of the staff, but then in charge of the clientele. What's the vibe? How are you feeling through this?
I I mean, I'm pretty calm.
Okay.
I'm not the type of person to freak out. But it is, I mean, you don't really have control over it. It is what it is.
Right.
You can, the only thing I can do is deliver the best service I possibly can given the circumstances. So we shifted everybody to online training. We immediately, sorry, Eric, I don't know if it's my connection that's bad, but I'm not hearing you.
No problem. You guys pivoted to digital, right?
Right.
Okay.
So
and now are participating in delivering that service, or are they all filming and delivering, or are you doing most of it?
So we have two things. We have virtual classes on Zoom. So I do that, and one of my other coaches does that too. And then I have two other coaches who are helping with the online training through True Coach.
Awesome. I love True Coach. It's been a fantastic help for sure. Hands down. So now you have, or we, I mean, the collective, the Southern California, like community of gyms doesn't necessarily have a time frame to open, but yet maybe it's 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 8 weeks. Have you sat down with the coaching staff and discussed what service might look like at 626 coming out of this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We actually sent an email out to our members too, just letting them know that we don't have a timeline because the governor hasn't given us any dates. We don't know how long it's going to go for. I mean, it could, like you said, it could go all the way till September, and we just won't know that until it happens. And it's just keeping that line of communication open, letting them know that we just don't know, and we're going to continue providing the virtual classes. We're going to continue providing delivering training through True Coach. And then when we do get to reopen, it's not going to look the same. It's probably going to be very limited. We might have to reduce class sizes and limit that to a very small number. We might have to section everybody off into their own space and still practice social distancing. We talked about perhaps getting a thermometer and checking everybody's temperature before going in. And if you feel sick, we ask that you don't come in. Wash your hands before and after. Who knows? Maybe the state will actually require us to follow certain protocols when they allow us to open. So we have.
I was going to say, will you expand? And it's challenging in 4,000 square foot facility to say, hey, we're used to 20 people per class or 18 people per class, whatever it was. To have to shrink that down, does that mean you're going to have to expand either the classes offered or expand the open gym capacity so you can hit more people at different hours?
So we thought about that too. The other thing too is also talking to our clients and figuring out, well, do you want to come back? Maybe because, with all this happening, lifestyles have changed, jobs have changed, or jobs were lost. And then maybe people are like, you know what, I can't go back. Or they might feel, you know what, I really like the online training. I loved working out at home. I want to stick with it. Or maybe. You
keep that up?
I've always had it.
Okay.
I've been doing it for a few years already. So it wasn't anything new. So I'm glad I had it. And it was a super easy transition to just get everybody online. Right. That's definitely going to continue. And nutrition coaching is also online. So that all those online services just kept going when the pandemic happened. It's just awesome. The in-person training, the personal training is killing us because it's not happening.
Of course.
So we have people who actually expressed that they want to wait a little bit before going back into the gym, which I understand. So we just don't know what exactly is going to happen. So when it does happen, then we can decide how we want to take it, which direction we want to go in. It could also be where maybe we do a 30-minute class so that we can get more people to roll in, and at the same time still offer the at-home training. So I'm thinking, well, the biggest thing that people miss is like the barbell and the rig, the pull-up bar. So perhaps maybe do more of a strength-focused session in the gym.
Yep.
And then get more people rolling out just in 30 minutes rather than doing hour classes, and then provide the at-home training or the conditioning at home, and they would do that on their own.
You know what? That's brilliant. I haven't heard that at all yet. I mean, but that makes total sense. I mean, what are they lacking at home? No one has built a full garage gym, but yet from a conditioning standpoint, everybody can do burpees and lunges and air squats and jump over the box, and whatever. That can continue for the clientele that want to stay. But if you give, immediate access to a strength biased, shortened, A, B, and C, and you're done, get out of here, I'll see you. Or even strength biased, maybe little bits of bodybuilding. Ooh, we can't say that word very much, can we, right? But that's brilliant. I love it. I really love that you guys are thinking about splitting that. That sounds really sharp, especially the 30-minute chunk, because then you can have more windows to provide option for the clients.
Yeah.
Love it. I totally love it.
Yeah, it's just hard to have a definite answer just because we don't know. We just don't know how things are going to go, how things are going to roll out, what's going to happen, and what the clients want. So it just depends on how the chips fall. They'll help us decide what direction we want to take it in. But we're thinking of all the possibilities.
There has to be, and I know we both personally know, and we can see at a distance, both through Facebook and on Instagram, there are struggling gym owners. There are struggling coaches, and there obviously are gyms that are closing. And so if you had a chance, and this is your chance truly to communicate to folks out there, what would you say to maybe provide some inspiration or maybe some words of wisdom? Is there anything you can think of in your soon-to-be decade of ownership experience? What would you share with them? Any lasting words for them?
Oh, man. I always say, take care of yourself, because we're always, as gym owners and even as trainers, we're always taking care of other people, and we put ourselves last.
Always.
Okay. So it might sound selfish to some people, but really, if you think about it, if you take care of yourself, if you're taking care of your health, if you're making sure you're getting, adequate sleep, you're exercising, you're eating right, then you're going to take better care of other people.
I love it.
And then also ask for help.
I love it.
Help, ask for help.
No, I love it. I totally love it. Super honest. I'm really glad that you made that point and were able to drive it home empathetically. And that's, I think, so many coaches or even so many affiliate owners fail. I mean, I'm a perfect example of that. I'm last always, no matter what, at the gym, in clients, even online clients, it's always them first. So I'm going to take your message and I can apply that as well. Thank you for hanging out today. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your journey and, about what you guys have had to do to overcome this. There's going to be a lot of folks that are watching this from around the country. If they want to reach out, if they want to touch base with you, if they have any follow-on questions, how can they find you? Where do you write? Where do you post at? How can they source anything from you?
Oh, there's so many ways. CrossFit626.com. You can definitely find my information on there. I have Facebook. I have Instagram.
Okay.
And Pam at CrossFit626.com.
Okay.
Email, phone. Yeah,
right
all
on.
my contact information is on the website.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you again for your authenticity. Thank you again for your 10 years of, or soon to be very, very close, 10 years of service to the community. For those of you guys that are watching at home on our Push Press channel for YouTube, feel free to leave some comments. Feel free to connect. Give us a thumbs up. Please share as much of this content as possible. It's an awesome opportunity for folks to get their names out. More importantly, to share their story and their journey, both as owning and also their work done in the trenches. Thank you.